Legal Vices here, and woo, we are live and monetized. Well, it was a big day. I got an exciting email that you all see has been happening here just a few minutes ago. But we're doing okay here. How is everybody? Wow. Oh my God. Yeah. Surprise. That was a big surprise for me. It was expected to happen originally about a year from now. Then it was expected to happen once everything got underway and the ball started rolling. It looked like it was going to be at least another month or two, but I got the email about 2 hours ago, and then I had to figure out what the hell I was doing. But holy crap, we're monetized. Now, first thing we need to do is say, look, anybody that gives any super anything, I am eternally grateful to you. I'll never beg for any super stuff, probably not very much, but I will not reject it. And it's a guaranteed way to get your comments read and possibly even replied to. And this is day one of monetization, so all bets are off. I'm probably going to fuck up and do a bunch of stupid crap that's going to miss something or get something wrong. But in the meantime, let's give it our best shot. Oh my God, I'm excited to see everybody here. And I'm happy that this finally went through. It's been a wild ride the past 3 weeks. But also it's kind of, it welcomes us and brings us to a new stage in this channel, which is we've got our mods. We've got several mods in place. We're still looking to boost our mod numbers, but the mods are instructed to leave the chat as widely open as possible. I mean, we're all adults here. You know, let's not be assholes. Don't be dicks about things. I mean, no bots, no porn, no racism, no stuff. Just be a freaking decent human being and we'll all get along. Everything is and shall remain as unbreaded as possible, but now that we've got this monetization goal, I'm not going to do anything to let it get taken away. So seriously, just be respectful of each other. Absolutely zero YouTube drama. I want none of it whatsoever here. So just keep it here, keep it us, keep it cool, be respectful, but be unbreaded as you desire as long as it's within those parameters. So with that having been said, let's get this damn stupid hat off, and because it messes with my earphones. I need like cowboy hats where you can wear earphones with them, damn it. Okay, why are we here? It is the morning of the resumption of jury deliberations from Afton, Wyoming. Okay, before we get into the meat of it, let's catch up on these super things and the super thangs. Oh, it looks like account deleted. Started us off with great content. Really inspires me to drop out of med school and become a lawyer instead. Holy crap, don't do that before you drop out of law school or med school or any other school you're in to do something that looks weird, looks fun, looks exciting. Think long and hard about it. Oh, and whatever account deleted is, the anonymous account deleted also got in the first super sticker. Hey, thanks. Which brings on to, holy shit, been waiting forever to send this. Congrats, I've been waiting for 3 weeks for it to happen. You keep being yourself because that's what brought all of us. Subbed when you were 2K, so like a week ago. Exactly. Oh, and mods, if I miss these things, can you star the super comments and the super things so I make sure I don't lose them? Evening from Sydney, Aussie. Welcome, welcome, welcome. John Roberts says, awesome. Heike, however that's I'm sorry, pledged. Thank you. Your pledge is accepted and your donation is accepted even more. Uncle Bubba, welcome, welcome, welcome. Congrats on getting monetized. Thank you so much. That is deeply appreciated. And like I said, I'm not going to beg for this stuff. I might mention it occasionally, but hey, anything I get is exciting to me and undeserved, but I will. Thank you all personally. Soul Music sent a super sticker. Awesome. Thank you. Louie Bluey, have a beer on me. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. Because I'm just celebrating the hell out of this monetization thing, I have made me an exquisite 3-olive dry martini with premium gin and Lille Blanc for the, let me set that down, and Lille Blanc for the vermouth. So have a beer on me. I have no money, so it has to be a cheap draft. Well, I will take this martini as being from you, Louie Bluey. Thank you so much. And Kelvin Klein, howdy from Afton, Wyoming. True story. My father is from Afton. The whole family is Lincoln and Star Valley. That's my peeps. You are my peeps, Kelvin Klein. That's where all the folks are from. All right. So, hey, we got the ancestral hometown of Afton, Wyoming being brought in. Sarah D, congrats on the super chats. Loving your content. Awesome. Thanks a bunch. Oh, and we've got Easy007. Congrats on the monetization. Well deserved. Keep up the great content. Oh, thank you as always. And before we get going, Soy Mafia is up my ass about my wallpaper. I love this wallpaper. See, this way I don't even need a green screen. Recommend pastel repaint. Kajak Cowboy. Let's go, Cowboy, in your ugly green apartment. 네, 감사합니다. 잘 부탁드리겠습니다. Okay, let's move on. Now that we've got that out of the way. So please, again, for the mods that are here, and thank you so much to the mods. We've got Nurse Rose is here. I haven't seen any of the others yet, but if you're here, hey, love y'all. If you just star the messages so I make sure that I don't miss any of these amazing, awesome, super stuff. But okay, it's the morning of the trial, of the resumption of the trial, the resumption of the jury instructions, the resumption of the jury deliberations, and is our resumption of the final stage of the redirect, and the rebuttal, and the surrebuttal is what we're going to get into today. It was a total of 4 hours, but it's taken us a total of 4 days to get through this because we had so many comments to make and there was so much going on. But we're here. We're going to do this for about the next hour and a half, 2 hours, and then I'm going to let you all go to your choice, your chosen person to go to for jury deliberations. I've been on Nick Recada's Recada Laws, his place for the last week of the trial. Hopefully he'll send me an invite. If he does, that's where I'll be after this. If not, I'll be watching him. Okay, Cheryl Jeffries says, congrats, Jeff. So happy for you. I thank you deeply for your donation. Not your pledge, your donation. So we're going to resume here. We're going to pick up where we left off. I want to get through this as quick as possible so we can just sit and chat about whatever we want to chat about, and we can look at things and see how we're doing. All righty then. With that, let's get right to it. We're going to pick up where we left off, which we had just left Rottenborn going crazy and taking up a huge extra chunk of time, and leaving Elaine to madly scramble through her part of the rebuttal, and realizing that she's screwed because now we're at a state where Team Depp has, I think, 39 minutes, something like that, to give their rebuttal. And Team Amber was somehow shockingly left with only 6 minutes to do their surrebuttal. So let's get the gear on here, strap us down, get things balanced. All right. And bring up our favorite judge and our favorite parties. Boom. All righty. And we are going to be off to the races in just 1 second as soon as I bring up the right window. There we go. And while we're waiting for Team Depp to take the stage. We'll clear off these last two little things. Taylor, congratulations on monetization from Australia. Sweet mustache, by the way. Thank you so much. And that's a sweet comment from you. I appreciate it. Legal Vice says Nick was so drunk, it took him 1 minute to use the stairs in his home. Well, depending on how well this night goes, I might be there too. And those of you that watched me nod off for a few minutes on his stream last time, I'm going to be bringing the sofa chair over here so that if I do fall asleep, I'll be comfortably in my chair when I do it. All right. Here she goes. Switch on and deliver your rebuttal.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello, Camille. I'm monetized. Good morning.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, let's go to it.
Ms. Heard's counsel has mischaracterized the record multiple times.
Yes, she did.
And Ms. Heard lied to you. They've mischaracterized the testimony of police officer Sines and Haddon.
Very much.
Explicitly testified that they saw no signs of injury and no property damage. They mischaracterized the testimony of Walter Hamada, who testified clearly that there was no impact on Ms. Heard's career at Aquaman 2 from anything said by Adam Waldman or Johnny Depp. And Ms. Heard's casting was delayed because of creative issues. They've mischaracterized the testimony of Detective Sadaga. They mischaracterized the testimony of Ronald Shell.
Mm-hmm.
You've been here. You've listened to the testimony. You know the record. Ms. Heard lied.
I'm glad she
lied again.
I'm glad she brought that up.
Kept lying. She lied 6 years ago on May 27th, 2016, when she walked into court in Los Angeles to publicly accuse Mr. Depp of abuse for the first time. She lied again when she told the world over and over again that she donated all of the $7 million divorce settlement to charity. You heard the evidence about what she donated, and you watched her. You watched her try to save her lie about that broken promise with more lies on the stand in this courtroom.
Yes.
She lied again when she told the world in her op-ed on December 18th, 2018, that she was a public figure representing domestic abuse, painting herself as a representative of abuse survivors everywhere, and painting Mr. Depp as a representative of perpetrators. She's come too far. She can't back down. She's lied too many times to too many people. So when Mr. Depp
Elaine just looks beat down.
To clear his name by filing this lawsuit, Ms. Heard responded by making up more and more stories of more and more extreme abuse. She came up with a new accusation that Mr. Depp had raped her with a bottle in Australia. And she keeps making new claims up even now. At this trial, for the very first time, she claimed that she had been sexually assaulted the night of her 30th birthday.
Yeah, notice how as the time went on from the time she first made the allegations until now, the stories get worse and worse and more in number.
And Mr. Depp was hitting her all the time during the first year of their relationship, even though this first year, she had testified previously, was magic and bliss with absolutely no violence. Her story is a constantly moving target. It never stays the same.
Exactly. She changes so many details, and Johnny has been Johnny from day one.
You saw him do it on the stand in a raw and powerful way. But in this trial, Ms. Heard has been confronted with her lies and the damage she has caused, and she cannot take any responsibility for what she has done.
Pinky Pink says Camille is really pissed. Yes, she is.
Her story, it doesn't hold up.
This is the comment I made when it was happening. This is the voice of a woman who is truly angry, not acting.
The time has come for those lies to come to an end. The time has come for you, the jury, to decide the truth. I started this trial giving you an opening statement, and I said to you that words matter. And this case is about Ms. Heard's words, the words she published in an op-ed about Mr. Depp. Ms. Heard and her attorneys have talked a lot about this in this trial about the First Amendment. They've talked about the importance of free speech, and we agree. I'm a lawyer. Of course I agree with that. But the First Amendment doesn't protect lies that hurt and defame people. And there's a difference.
That
Ms.
is
Heard
an
has no right
extremely
to
important
tell
comment. That right there that she's saying is an extremely important point to make. That's all that Rottenborn has been going on about again and again and again from Amber's side. Is this is about the First Amendment. This is about free speech. Everybody supports free speech. I mean, that would be dumb for a lawyer to say I don't support free speech. But as Camille just said, free speech does not mean that you get to lie about it. You cannot publish lies freely and not expect repercussions. He says you need the courtroom volume up a bit. That's as loud as it goes. That's on their end. I have everything cranked up on my end. But yes, I mean, the First Amendment, yes, Amber Heard's speech is protected by the First Amendment, by the freedom of speech, as long as it is truthful. That's why, generally speaking, talking about things like defamation and slander and libel, truth is an absolute defense. If what you say is true, it can be said. If it's not true and it damages someone, then you could be in trouble. So there we have it. I mean, that's what's going on here. And while we're stopped here, like I said, I'm getting used to all of this this sudden monetization stuff here. So again, I won't beg for it. But what I will beg for is likes and subscribes. If you haven't subscribed yet, if you like what you're seeing, hit subscribe, hit like, and this will keep on going because that truly, truly means a lot to me. I'm grateful for anything I get out of this, likes or subscribes or, whatever. And I deeply appreciate it. And if you don't, I consider that to be abuse. Stop abusing me. You're just taking advantage of me, and that's abuse according to Rottenborn. So like and subscribe. Beverly Alfred says, nosy question. Why Korea? Are you there for good? I've enjoyed getting to know you on Nick's site. Cheers to filthy martinis, friend. Oh, mine is a very neat martini. No, it's not a dirty martini, but why in Korea? Oh, that's a good long story. Remind me. I'll leave this start up here so that I can get to that at the end. It's a rather long story, but it's a good one. Bruce says, keep up the good work. Glad I found you. I'm glad you found me too, Bruce. And this is a comment I like. A jury is made up of 12 people too stupid to get out of jury duty. I don't think people should want to try to get out of jury duty. I think it's a responsibility and an obligation people have as citizens of the United States to do their part to uphold justice. But that having been said, in this case, there's seven jurors. But when I was in law school, my tort teacher would always talk about having to convince the jury. And he'd always say, okay, what argument are you going to use to convince the 12 ignorant slobs that you deserve this money? So it's not entirely out of the question that you may want to get it. My wife has locked away the booze behind a time clock, and I can first open it after 2 p.m. Say, well, that's why I don't have one of those. And by that, I mean a wife, not a booze cabinet. I want to drink some bokbuncha. Bokbuncha is an awesome Korean beverage. It's a great kind of winey sort of thing. It's one of my faves. So, alrighty then. Max Mura popping in here. What the hello? I log in late and gay to see Super Chatsy ducking a rubs and kisses from Joe, formerly known as Long Duck Dong. Max, welcome. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate the donations more than I appreciate the pledges. Mistress Mag says shaken, not stirred. Oh, don't go there. That martini should always be stirred and never shaken. I curse James Bond for having a vodka martini that's shaken and not stirred. It should be a gin martini, always stirred. And with that, we'll jump right back into the swing of things here. I just wanted to make that point that it's an amazing thing that she said, and I'm glad she pounded that home after all this First Amendment stuff that Rottenborn was bringing up. Yes, you do have First Amendment protections. Everybody wants everybody to have First Amendment protections, but that First Amendment protection does not give you the right to lie, does not give you the right to slander, does not give you the right to libel, does not give you the right to defame someone.
World that Mr. Depp physically or sexually assaulted her, when that isn't true. That's not protected speech. Our US Constitution doesn't protect that speech. And it is a core value of American society that you are innocent until proven guilty. There is a presumption of innocence in this country. A person's life cannot and should not be destroyed by a baseless charge and no opportunity to defend yourself. That's why Mr. Depp had to bring this claim. Ms. Heard was never going to stop calling him an abuser. The only way to clear his name was to stand up in this court where both sides are bound by the same rules of American law. A jury would be tasked, you, ladies and gentlemen, would be tasked with deciding once and for all Ms. Heard's lies could be exposed in a fair and impartial process.
Mm-hmm.
When Mr. Depp sued her, Ms. Heard apparently decided she needed to sue him back. And because there were no statements made by Mr. Depp on which she could base the claim, she sued him based on statements made by one of his lawyers.
Ooh, burn. That's a big burn, but it's so true. And I mean, if you look back over the past 3 days and things that we've been doing this, notice how often we've been stopping to be critical of what Team Amber has done as opposed to what Team Johnny's lawyers have done. And that's not because I'm super pro one side or the other as far as the lawyers go, but it's just Heard's team is not doing the best. But Camille and Chu are, I mean, they're in sync. And then the other guy in the firm, his name slips my mind right now. Whenever there's an expert, he just sort of like a Dark Souls character materializes to help defeat the boss. And then his summon sign goes away and he goes off and tell more. But they're so cohesive. They're so on point with their arguments. They're so passionate and so involved. I find it hard to be critical of anything they do. But I'm truly looking. And what she's mentioning right now is the fact that, and that was one thing that Elaine said immediately before she ended her testimony. Not her testimony, sorry, her rebuttal arguments or summations. God, I'm just freaked out about this monetization thing. That Elaine said during her closing statements. There we go. She said, "Oh, we just sued for $100 million because he sued for $50 million and we wanted to just stick it to him." And then she said, "Oh, you don't have to. We don't want the money. You don't have to give us the money." So that's bullshit. That is a stupid, ridiculous argument. Elaine shot herself in the foot by saying we just sued for $100 million to be spiteful. And you don't have to give it to us. You just have to give us punitive damages. That was a huge, stupid, ridiculous tactical mistake, which no lawyer I've talked to has been able to figure out why you would ever even remotely say anything like that. And now Camille has just harped on that and said, not only have they just made up this ridiculous number to sue for, they're not even doing it based on something that Johnny Depp personally says. They're doing it something based on what his lawyer said. Camille is bringing the wood. She is hitting home runs.
Adam Waldman, calling Ms. Heard's accusations of abuse a hoax. Make no mistake, though, they are a hoax.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Heard made up claims of abuse, and then she gave a performance where she passionately repeated those made-up claims of abuse on the stand in front of each of you. But ask yourselves, who's really the one alleging a hoax here? Who wants you to believe that everyone else is lying, committing perjury? Ms. Heard needs you to believe that all the people who showed up in this courtroom to testify on behalf of Mr. Depp, they're all lying. Again,
this is an awesome thing. We mentioned this when she was doing her closing statements. She did an amazingly strategically wonderful thing in not making this what Johnny Depp said versus what Amber Heard said. She made this what Amber Heard said versus what every single witness that had been called, including some of her own witnesses, said about the situation. She's made it not about he said, she said. It's about she said and what every single other person has said. That's brilliant.
She needs you to believe that the witnesses you heard from, including security professionals, former cops, medical professionals, and police officers, they're all lying. covering up for Mr. Depp. She's asking you to believe that she's the one telling the truth and that the rest of the people in Mr. Depp's life are all part of a conspiracy of silence.
Mm-hmm.
This case is not just about whether you believe Mr. Depp or you believe Ms. Heard. This case is about whether you believe Ms. Heard or whether you believe Mr. Depp, Chrissy Dombrowski, who, yes, is here supporting her brother. Isaac Baruch, who wept in front of the world.
Wept. There. Now I found something I can criticize.
Who doesn't work for Mr. Depp. Sean Betts, a former LA Sheriff's Department. Malcolm Connolly, he worked in the prisons in the UK. Starling Jenkins, a former US Marine. Travis McGivern, also another former police officer. Ben King, he worked for the Queen of England. David Kipper, Dr. David Kipper. Ms. Heard's doctor. And yes, Mr. Depp's doctor. Debbie Lloyd, a nurse. Aaron Filati.
This is so good.
Personal nurse. Officer Sines, an LA police officer with training in domestic violence. Officer Haddon, her understudy, yes, in his first week, studying to pick up on these signs of domestic abuse.
This is so
Officer
good.
Gatlin,
I hope you can all appreciate how
Brandon
powerful
Patterson,
this
who
is.
worked
She's
in Columbia
she's
Bank.
listing the people
Keith
that
James, Ms. Heard's
lied,
personal
or
assistant.
that according to Amber
Sarah
Heard
Roberts.
lied.
Alejandro Romero. He took his deposition.
These are all the witnesses that have
call
said things different than Amber Heard.
because he had to go to work. But it didn't stop him from telling the truth. Edward White, Mr. Depp's business manager. Laura Wasser, one of the most famous divorce lawyers in California. Morgan Knight. Beverly Leonard. Morgan Tremaine. And Kate Moss. And all the other witnesses whose stories support Mr. Depp's description of what took place. These people have nothing to gain by coming forward. They have everything to lose. You have seen Mr. Waldman's statements and evidence in this case. When you look at them, you can tell that the key point Mr. Waldman was making in each of these statements was simply that Ms. Heard's accusations against Mr. Depp were lies. That's why he talks about an abuse hoax. Now, Ms. Heard has the burden of proof of proving that Mr. Waldman's statements are false. And that means that Ms. Heard has to do more than prove that Mr. Waldman got some details wrong. She has to prove that Mr. Waldman's statements are false in their essential meaning. In other words, she has to prove that her abuse claims are not a hoax. But as we've seen, the evidence is overwhelming that Ms. Heard's claims of abuse are false. We should also spend a bit of time talking about actual malice. It is Ms. Heard's burden to
Okay. Now, before this is where we're going into this, is this issue of malice. She needs to show that the statements against her, this is for her counterclaims, the statements against her were malicious. And the best that Rottenborn could do yesterday was to pound the table and say that the lawyer for Johnny Depp was malicious because he threw a newspaper down on the table in front of her. That was sort of the things he was saying. He threw the newspaper down, and that's malicious. That's kind of insane. Helen T says, hi from Vienna. Love your channel. Love Vienna. Welcome. Good morning to you. Free speech equals calling someone a flappy fish market. Oddly enough, calling someone a flappy fish market is much safer than saying that than trying to defame someone or lying about them in such a way that would cause damages. Geez. Easy 007 AH been able to speak and profit for years. JD was canceled, lost his rep, cost him millions in 6 years to be able to speak for her, not for him. Can't agree with you more there. Cannot agree more. Oh, and thank you for this very generous donation from Paul Byrne. Yay, you got the super chats up. I did. Love the channel, man. You got some funnies, man. Hi from Dublin, Ireland. Welcome from Ireland. We love folks here. And thank you so much for being here. And Janie says, you got monetized. Yes, I did. And I love all of you. And while I'm at it, oh yeah, the grift is starting hard. Um, but hey, like I said, the only thing I'm ever going to beg for is what I'm begging for right now. Don't be malicious. Don't be abusive. Don't ignore me. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe to the channel. That's all I ask. It's that easy. Let's jump right back into it.
Prove that Mr. Waldman's statements were made with actual malice. And actual malice means knowledge that the statements were false or reckless, and that's an important word, reckless disregard for the truth.
Yes, that is very important. A reckless disregard for the proof. That means if he says something and doesn't care whether or not it's true, then that's a problem. But if they can make the argument, which he's going to make, that to the best of his knowledge, that to the best of the information currently available to him, he believed that this was the truth. That's not reckless disregard for the truth. Reckless disregard for the truth is I may say something and I really don't give a crap if it's true or false.
But here, there is clear evidence that Mr. Waldman genuinely believed that Ms. Heard had committed a hoax. You watched him give the testimony by deposition in this case. He testified about the evidence he found persuasive, the numerous witnesses and the sworn depositions of the police officers who went to the penthouses that night and again saw no injuries. There is no evidence in this record, none, that Mr. Waldman acted with actual malice. He believed Mr. Depp. He believed the record. It's also important to understand that because Mr. Waldman's statements were not made by Mr. Depp, Ms. Heard needs to prove that Mr. Waldman was acting as Mr. Depp's agent. And within the scope of that agency, within the scope of the agency of the employment, when he made the statements, Mr. Waldman is a lawyer. Ms. Heard has not presented evidence that making those statements was part of Mr. Waldman's responsibilities as Mr. Depp's lawyer. There's nothing in the record. Ms. Heard is also claiming to be suffering from PTSD and claims that she has something to do with Mr. Waldman's statements. Ms. Heard wants you to believe that she suffers from PTSD because Mr. Depp purportedly abused her. But as usual, Ms. Heard is not telling the truth. As you heard from Dr. Schiff,
as usual,
Ms. Heard does not have PTSD, and she does not act like a person with PTSD. Ms. Heard is an actress in a major film, involved in sommelier training. She just had a baby. Dr. Curry also found that Ms. Heard attempted to grossly exaggerate her symptoms during testing, which is a sign of malingering.
Yes, if you'll remember the tests that Dr. Curry, Dr. Mama, Dr. Muffin, whatever you want to call her, you'll remember she was talking about the PTSD diagnostic test that includes questions that are specifically designed to seem to be a symptom of PTSD, but are actually designed to mislead someone who is trying to fake the test, who's trying to malinger, and who's trying to make it look as though they have PTSD when they really don't. So there's these fake questions that are just sort of red herrings to catch people that are lying about trying to have a PTSD diagnostic. And Dr. Curry testified that not only did she answer some of these questions, these fake questions designed to catch liars, she answered 98.8% more of the questions designed to catch liars than any other person who has ever taken this test. She passed this test with flying colors, and by passed, it means you lost. That's how bad it was. She lied 98.8% more than anybody who's ever taken the test.
Heard lying. Ms. Heard hired Dr. Don Hughes to help her with this narrative. Dr. Hughes did not catch Ms. Heard's exaggeration during testing because Dr. Hughes used an improper malingering screen test. She wasn't going to find it. One that is meant to identify an examinee's attempt to fake a severe mental illness or psychosis, not PTSD. Dr. Hughes diagnosed Ms. Heard with PTSD without administering the gold standard diagnostic test used for PTSD.
Oops.
She diagnosed her, think about that, she diagnosed her with PTSD before administering the test she admitted was the gold standard. 2 years after diagnosing Ms. Heard with PTSD, and curiously, shortly after Dr. Curry administered the gold standard diagnostic test in her evaluation of Ms. Heard, but before it was disclosed, Dr. Hughes decided to administer the gold standard. Finally, nevertheless, even after Dr. Hughes used the proper test, there were a number of deficiencies in her administration of that test.
Mm-hmm.
You saw them, including her failure to even follow the instructions that render her diagnoses unreliable. Ms. Heard's claim for monetary damages related to Mr. Waldman's statements.
Oh, you didn't even follow
frankly,
the instructions.
It's a fantasy. Ms. Heard speculates wildly that she has somehow been damaged by Mr. Waldman's statements. But in reality, Ms. Heard has not shown any damage at all that was because of or by Mr. Waldman's statements.
That is true. She has not shown any damages of it. And that's the whole gist. And I think that's one of two reasons Elaine said you don't have to give us any proven actual damages. Because she didn't prove any. The only, if I recall correctly, the only thing they really mentioned was that she didn't get a normal raise that other actors like Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot got. And I mean, just comparing herself to them are crazy. But the, she's saying she lost, and she had her part in Aquaman 2 reduced. She already got paid. It doesn't matter if she doesn't even show up in that damn movie. She gets paid. So damages,
Statements. There's evidence of a mountain of negative press coverage about Ms. Heard, including press reports about her defecating Mr. Depp's bed, cutting off his finger, and putting out a cigarette on his face. But none of that has anything to do with Mr. Waldman's statements.
Mm-hmm.
And Ms. Heard has presented no evidence, none, of any film or other project that she has lost because of the statements. In fact, you heard from Walter Hamada, who explained that Ms. Heard suffered no loss, none. No loss of compensation or other adverse effect on her major film, Aquaman 2. You heard it straight from him. Ms. Heard's expert, Catherine Arnold, testified, but for the statements from Mr. Waldman, Ms. Heard would be much more successful in her career. To form this opinion, Ms. Arnold compares Ms. Heard to actors such as Jason Momoa, the actual Aquaman, Chris Pine,
Aquaman,
Gal Gadot, and Zendaya. But as Richard Marks, who does deals every day, that's his job, not testifying here for a paycheck, does deals in Hollywood, and Doug Banya both testified that these actors are simply not comparable to Ms. Heard.
I mean, do you really need an expert witness to come into court and testify that Amber Heard is not on the same acting plane as Zendaya, Gal Gadot, and Jason Momoa?
After all, Jason Momoa, he was Aquaman. Chris Pine, Captain Kirk. Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman. Zendaya, she's been acting since she was 13 years old on the Disney Channel.
And she's Chani in the new Dune movies.
Further, the Q scores of these actors are not at all comparable with Ms. Heard's Q.
I didn't like the whole Q point
testified,
argument. The Q score thing never really was that compelling to me. And it might just be because I didn't understand it.
Of all performers. As you heard from Michael Spindler, because Ms. Arnold relies on the salaries of these comparable actors to calculate Ms. Heard's damages, Ms. Heard's claim for damages makes no sense. There's no connection. Further, and more fatally for Ms. Heard's damages claim, is that there's no connection to the Waldman statements, to Mr. Waldman's statements. Even if you find damage to her career, you have to connect it to the defamatory statements. There is no connection. Mr. Banya testified that all the negative tweets that Ms. Heard has entered into evidence have no causal connection to the statements underlying Ms. Heard's counterclaims. Specifically, Ms. Heard's expert, Mr. Ron Schell, presented a flawed methodology that included picking out hashtags at random, including justice for Johnny Depp. What does that have to do with the Waldman statements?
But we also
And
know because of
counting
him,
a
Amber
country
Turd
tweets,
is
even though it
trending
had
online.
nothing to do with Mr. Waldman. Ms. Heard's counterclaim is based on statements by Mr. Waldman, not Mr. Depp. Ms. Heard knows perfectly well that she hasn't suffered any damages from those statements. Buried at the bottom of articles in a
Might be.
media
She said,
package,
what about her amazing role in Blade Runner as a naked woman on a
and the
billboard?
statements are
That was her
substantially
best
true,
role.
Since all they do really is point out that Ms. Heard's abuse allegations are false. Ms. Heard's counsel argued that Ms. Heard did not write the title of the online version of the op-ed, which stated, "I spoke up against sexual violence and face our culture's wrath. That has to change." It does not matter whether or not Ms. Heard wrote the title. You will recall from the court's instructions this morning that what matters is whether Ms. Heard republished the defamatory language. That instruction states in part that you should find Ms. Heard republished this article if
The
she,
new Dr.
quote,
Seuss novel, Amber Heard a
retransmitted the
Turd. Thanks,
defamatory
Hologuy.
material with the goal of achieving a new audience. Stated differently, republication occurs when the speaker has affirmatively, that's important, affirmatively reiterated the statement. Ms. Heard affirmatively reiterated the statement. She posted it on her Twitter. If we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 3.
That's a good point. We talked yesterday about republishing it and the jury instruction where it says that just retweeting something by itself doesn't equal republishing, but adding content to it or trying to attract a new audience could constitute that. Here, what she's saying is if you affirmatively retweet it, in other words, I'm proud of this, that is a problem for Amber Heard. What she should have done, if she didn't agree with it, she should have said, this bullshit thing came out. I didn't say this shit. I didn't make this title. Something to disavow it. But no, she wholeheartedly embraced it and was proud of it and affirmatively reasserted those points.
This is the tweet Ms. Heard sent. She retweeted the Washington Post tweet to a new audience, her own Twitter followers.
Mm-hmm.
And she affirmatively reiterated the statement by proudly declaring, "Today I published this op-ed in the Washington Post." She didn't quibble with the title.
Yep.
She said proudly, "Today
I published
this op-ed in the Washington Post."
Burn.
The title.
And what have I done?
Well,
okay, it wasn't me. Scared me to death.
That is enough for you, members of the jury, to find that Ms. Heard republished the title of the op-ed and adopted the statement as her own. She can and should be held liable and responsible for that statement.
Damn straight.
Ms. Heard tries to make something out of the fact that Mr. Waldman reported her to law enforcement in Los Angeles for perjury after her allegations of abuse were made against Mr. Depp. But I'll submit to you that all this proves is that Mr. Waldman believes Ms. Heard has committed perjury. Mr. Ronborn argued that the lack of supporting evidence for Ms. Heard's allegations of horrendous, constant abuse is somehow not something to be considered, that it is shameful for you to consider the fact that she didn't document all the terrible injuries that she claims to have suffered. That is a twisted argument. First, you know, because you have seen and listened to Ms. Heard in action, that Ms. Heard is a woman who's documenting things throughout their relationship.
Oh, yes. Documenting everything except the important stuff.
That the things she chose to document had nothing to do with violence. She documented Mr. Depp sleeping.
Several times.
She documented lines of cocaine.
That she put there.
Featuring prominently Mr. Depp's loan out company or production company, Infinitum. Stage photographs. That's what she documented. Mr. Rottenborn's entire argument assumes that Mr. Depp, a man, should be disbelieved because despite the fact that Ms. Heard can't support her accusations with actual evidence. What we have put to you, the jury, is not that because Ms. Heard didn't take enough pictures or tell people about abuse that it didn't happen. What we have put to you is that given how brutal and constant the abuse Ms. Heard claims, she would have had serious injuries. That's a fact. She would have had serious injuries that would have been observable in the pictures we looked at and by the witnesses we heard from, and would have required medical attention.
I was going to say observable. Observable. If those Australian incidents had happened to where it was a 3-day ass whooping, just being beat around the house, being drugged through glass, having her face smashed into things, and being pummeled repeatedly, and being violated by an alcoholic beverage bottle, she would have been lucky to survive that, let alone get medical treatment.
That multiple people didn't see. What you have in the end is Ms. Heard's word. Do you trust it? We are not here because Ms. Heard told the world Mr. Depp was verbally abused.
That is a powerful statement. We have to rely on Amber's word. Do you trust it? That was a very well delivered line. Camille gets major kudos for saying that. This rests on her statements. And do you believe them?
This is not about the words used by Mr. Depp. We are here because Ms. Heard told the world that Mr. Depp was physically and sexually abusive. That's what Ms. Heard was saying in the op-ed. On May 27th, exactly 6 years ago today, 2016, Ms. Heard walked into court with a mark on her face to tell the world that her husband was abusive. She renewed that falsehood in her op-ed, describing herself as a public figure representing domestic abuse. And she published the op-ed, including the title, claiming that she spoke up against sexual violence. Everyone knew who she was talking about when she used those words. She was alleging physical and sexual abuse. She was not alleging emotional or psychological abuse. She was alleging physical and sexual abuse. Ms. Heard cannot run away from her own allegations now. You have all heard the evidence of what she alleged against Mr. Depp in 2016. And you have all heard her incredibly dramatic, over-the-top story of physical.
Have you heard about the bird? The bird. Is the bird is the word?
Defamatory lie. Ms. Heard tried to argue that you only need to find that Mr. Depp might have touched Ms. Heard once in order to find in her favor, because that makes her a victim of abuse. But common sense.
Yeah, so let's think about it. I mean, that's a legitimate question that comes up every now and then. Is one incident abuse? Is one incident of this happening? Is that abuse, or does it require more than one? Does it require a pattern? I don't know. And I mean, that's one thing the jury is going to have to decide. Does a single yelling, calling someone a swear word constitute see, now that I'm monetized, I have to be careful about the words I use. Does that constitute DV? Does just one simple event, one simple hit, does that constitute DA or DV? Does yelling at someone constitute DA? In the chat, let me know what you think. I mean, where it's a rough thing to say. Where do we draw the line? Where does, like, the holy crap, I just, I got out of my head, I said something stupid, or oh my God, I'm sorry, it'll never happen again, and then it never does. I mean, it's a tricky thing. I mean, if you've been together for 40, 50 years, and one day you just kind of snap and haul off and smack your partner, is that abuse? I mean, everybody's going to have their opinion, and that's the thing that this jury is going to have to decide. And again, while we're here, let's just clear up these things really quickly. Start the grift. Yvonne De Silva. Oh, yes, we're going to start the grift. Don't worry about that. Kirby Souls. Hope to see you with Ricada later. Grutz from Sweden. Yeah, I hope I'm there too. I hope I'm on with Ricada. If he sends me another, if he sends me another invite, I'm all over it. I shall be there. Hit the like and comment. Yeah, seriously, I'm just the worst at self promotion. So please, if you're here, There's 1,000 of you here. If you haven't subscribed, just like bump me up. I think I don't know what I'm at. Oh, I'm at 16,800 subscribers now. Bump me up over 17,000 just for the hell of it. Just because you're all in a good mood and I'm in a good mood and we're all being here and we're all getting excited for the verdict to hopefully come down later today. But please like and subscribe to the channel and keep it coming because I'm going to keep on being here. Carolyn JW19, yeah, you're monetized. Yes, I am. Awesome. I'm happy about that. Janie says someone said her legal bills are actually being paid by homeowners insurance. That's the speculation, but it would have to be a really, really amazing policy because ordinarily the homeowners insurance won't pay for things like defamation. They'll pay for, car accidents or, slip and fall injuries or things like that. But normally they won't pay for something that you get yourself into by saying something stupid. And even if they do, they're normally limited to around $1 million. So this would have to be a super uber special homeowners insurance policy that she crafted and probably couldn't pay for. I don't know. Who knows? How do you know when Amber is lying? Asks Anna D. Her lips are moving. Yeah, pretty much. If it's not lying, it's to blame someone else. Janie says also H has a home in Joshua Tree, same place as the Hicksville Trailer Park. No, it's the Hicksville Trailer Palace, where she didn't know Hicksville guy. Now, see, I'm kind of upset about because I'm going to go back to the States for vacation to see my family, my parents, and my father, my sister, and everybody else. My son I haven't seen in 3 years because of COVID. But I'm going to go back at the end of July, and I desperately want to. We're going to be in Vegas, and Vegas is about 200 miles from the Hicksville Trailer Park, the Trailer Palace. Sorry. I really want to go there and spend the night at the Hicksville Trailer Palace and vlog that. I wanted to be the first one there, but Andrew over at Self-Defense, he's going to beat me to it. He's going to be on a motorcycle trip there apparently in a few weeks. Damn him. I really wish it would be me. But again, thank you all for these wonderful, amazing super stuff, the super stickers, the super chats, and everything. It is deeply and greatly appreciated. Let's watch Camille deliver the final blows here.
I should tell you that you can't pick and choose Ms. Heard's allegations. You saw her on the stand. We all did. She gave the performance of her life, telling you story after story of abuse. And not just any abuse, but extravagant, over-the-top allegations of abuse that would be truly brutal, horrific, if true. You either believe all of it or you believe none of it.
Boom.
Either she's telling the truth, including in her most extreme allegations, or she's lying.
That's
either
it.
She's raped by a bottle, or she's the sort of person who would get on the stand in this courtroom and lie to you and the world about being raped. And if she would lie about that, what would she lie about? You can't find that Mr. Depp hit her once. Either he hit her countless times, or you can't believe a single word that comes out of her mouth.
That is absolutely correct. Because if you lie about one thing, why not lie about everything?
What is the actual meaning of Ms. Heard's op-ed? That's an important question. It's not that Mr. Depp said a nasty word to her once. It's not that Mr. Depp might have hit her once. It's that she is a representative of domestic abuse. And by extension, Mr. Depp is a representative of abuse perpetrators. Words matter.
Mm-hmm. Again, I mean, that's the thing. That's like the classic
a lot of text messages from Mr. Depp
legal statement. If the witness is lying about one thing, you have to assume they're lying about everything.
At the start of this trial, Mr. Depp has a unique style of writing. He uses words I don't use.
He uses words that none of us use
either. But as you also heard during this trial, Mr. Depp writes in that way, in part because he modeled his writings on literary giants like Hunter S. Thompson. And he's got a dark sense of humor. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's who he is. And Mr. Depp owns text messages. He acknowledges that he said those things, and he said things that he shouldn't have. But using bad language and colorful humor does not mean that you are a violent abuser. And ironically, as much as Ms. Heard is trying to use Mr. Depp's words against him, it is Ms. Heard who repeatedly admitted to violence. In her own words, you've heard the tapes. You've heard her admit to violence. Ms. Heard can try to distract you with text messages showing that Mr. Depp uses bad language and has a dark sense of humor. But none of that, I submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, none of that is evidence of abuse. Hitting your husband is evidence of abuse. Mr. Ronborn talked about the burden of proof. Let's talk about that for a minute. Mr. Depp only has to show that it is more likely than not, that the statements in the op-ed are false, that it is more likely than not that they have a defamatory implication, that it is more likely than not that Ms. Heard designed and intended the statements to refer to Mr. Depp. And the evidence on these points is clear.
Do you think he intended those comments to refer to Depp?
6 years ago today, May 27th, 2016. She went out of her way to make them public, tipping off TMZ.
Which she admitted to accidentally.
She was reminding everyone in Hollywood and the world of her abuse claims. And those claims are a lie. Consider what the true purpose of the article. Mr. Ronborn said it was to promote legislative reforms.
Mm-hmm.
But what was it actually? The evidence shows it was to promote Ms. Heard. It was timed to be released at the same time as Aquaman on December 21st, 2018.
Yep.
And it was timed to coincide with her announcement.
And the ACLU admitted the article was released
at the ACLU for women's rights.
In time with the movie.
It was designed that way.
Absolutely was.
That was not a statement about legislative reforms. This was about burnishing Ms. Heard's reputation at the expense of Mr. Depp's. It was about Ms. Heard continuing to portray herself as a heroic survivor of abuse. And on the question of actual malice, that just means whether or not Ms. Heard knew the allegations were false. Ms. Heard knows perfectly well that she wasn't abused. She has direct knowledge of that. She was in that relationship. So actual malice is easily established. You may have noticed that no one showed up for Ms. Heard in this courtroom other than her sister.
Yeah.
Every other witness who traveled to Virginia for her was a paid expert.
Yeah. Point.
This is a woman who burns
Camille.
bridges. Her close friends don't show up for her. Mr. Rottenborn tried to discredit Mr. Depp's witnesses by suggesting they're all on Mr. Depp's payroll. So he doubled down on the hoax theory that everyone's just lying. First of all, it's not even true Keaton Wyatt is on his payroll. Ben King isn't on his payroll. Officer Melissa Sines isn't on his payroll. Morgan Tremaine isn't on his payroll. Officer Tyler Haddon, he's not on his payroll. Beverly Leonard, Alejandro Romero, Brandon Patterson.
This is just a brutal beatdown.
None of those people are on his payroll. And Kate Moss is most definitely not on Mr. Depp's payroll.
The girlfriend he dumped 30 years ago came back to say good things about him.
Let's talk about the Boston plane. Ms. Heard wants you to believe that the recording you heard is from the Boston plane flight, but that's quite telling. What did Ms. Heard capture of this supposed rampage? Mr. Depp moaning in distress?
Now, if you remember, the plane ride was supposed to be where he smacked her around a few times in front of his bodyguards, and then she got up to move to the front of the plane, and he kicked her in the back and knocked her down and all of these things. And then they played the tape of him going, "Ah, ah, ah," for a couple of minutes.
That's what she chose to record. What sort of person records something like that?
A horrible, horrible human being.
What sort of person takes pictures of their husband or boyfriend or fiance who's struggling with sobriety
and sends them to their friends
with ice cream dripping down his leg
and sends them to friends,
or asleep on the ground? What sort of person does that?
A horrible, horrible human
Definitely
being.
Not someone that's afraid of him.
True.
And Ms. Heard's attorney told a story of May 21 that was
Well, she even said why. She said, why? She said, why should I be afraid of him? I mean, that's a stupid thing to say.
completely, utterly inconsistent with the testimonies of Officers Sines and Haddon, who testified clearly that they saw no signs of injury, no sign of property damage. And she told a story about how Officer Sadanaga, that right? Sadanaga's testimony was also wrong. She testified that the report was only required in case of a crime. Ms. Heard's attorneys tried to tell you that Mr. Depp apologized on May 22nd because he had hit Ms. Heard. Mr. Depp didn't apologize to Ms. Heard on May 22nd for hitting her. He apologized because he was leaving Ms. Heard. And this was a woman that, in spite of all her violence and all her rage, Mr. Depp, he loved her.
Mm-hmm.
He had been with her for years. Of course he apologized when he finally broke it off.
That is all. I mean, that's a sign of an abuse. I got to watch myself with these words now. That's the sign of a victim of DA or DV. Even when there's no reason, they're constantly apologizing. It's a self-preservation thing because you don't want to anger the person further. You want to chill it out. You want to mellow down. So they're always apologizing for things. Whether it's something they should apologize for or not, whether it's something they did or not. That's the excessive apologizing for situations where you're being treated badly is a sign of a victim.
Ms. Bredehoff also tried to tell you that Ms. Heard did everything in her power to keep the authorities away and to not get Mr. Depp in trouble on May 21st, 2016.
And again, I mean, she's saying that she was talking to her lawyer when the police were there and her lawyer was saying, don't talk to them. She called the police, or her friends did. So you're suffering abuse. The police come twice in the space of a few minutes. You're suffering this horrible abuse. Your friends are looking out for you. And your lawyer says, whatever you do, don't talk to the police. Now, if the police were coming to talk to Johnny about being the perpetrator of the AV or DV, I would say, don't say a word. But if you're a victim and your friends are reporting it, there's no way a lawyer would say, don't tell the police what just happened to you. Especially when they're saying, if you tell us, we'll arrest him. If you tell us, we'll make a report. If you tell us, we'll take care of you. And the lawyer says, no, don't do it. That is just absurd. That's just ridiculous.
Take a minute and think back to what Ms. Heard did 6 days later, 6 years ago today. She walked into court with a visible mark on her face, not wearing makeup that day. She tipped off TMZ, she made it public, and she showed up on the cover of People magazine with a mark on her face. Was that protecting Mr. Depp? Or was she trying to destroy him? Mr. Ronborn asked you to consider why you're here. So why are you here? You're here because of a lie.
Court starts, I believe, in 90 minutes.
At the start of this trial, we told you that this trial is about the evidence. The evidence overwhelmingly shows that Ms. Heard is an abuser and that she is a liar. She lied about Mr. Depp and took on the role of a lifetime as a public figure representing domestic abuse. What is her best evidence of that abuse? A video of Mr. Depp banging cabinets around. And text messages of Mr. Depp using bad words and dark, ugly humor, but never once admitting to abuse.
Never once admitting to abuse. No DV or DA was captured on camera or on audio or video. It's never been proven anywhere.
Held herself out to the world as a representative of abuse survivors everywhere. The face of the Me Too movement. This is not a Me Too situation.
I love what Chu said. This is Me Too without Me Too. This is Me Too and nobody else.
Ms. Heard does not deserve to be known as a representative of survivors of abuse.
Oh, I love Camille.
And Mr. Depp does not deserve to be known as a representative of perpetrators of abuse. That is what this case is about. It's not about money. It's about giving Mr. Depp his life back 6 years ago when she took it away.
6 years to the day.
While you deliberate, ask yourselves why Mr. Depp would put himself through this.
Mm-hmm. She's getting choked up here.
Every embarrassing detail of his life on national television. If he was guilty of anything.
And again, I said this before when Chu was giving his closing. He choked up twice talking about his client. He choked up twice talking about Johnny Depp and the pain he suffered and the repercussions that he suffered. And now Camille is choking up talking about the same thing. I can't, I mean, lawyers, we're just sort of cold-hearted bastards by and large, because nobody comes to our office. Well, few people do, but most people don't come to our office because everything is great and going well for them in their lives. The stories that we hear, regardless of what area you practice in, whether you hear things of monetary difficulties or physical issues or accidents, and you hear horror stories all day, every day, year in, year out, and you sort of become hardened to it. You sort of develop a shell, and it sort of like with doctors, police, lawyers, firemen, things like, you develop this really sick sense of humor to where, like, the most horrific accidents, you find humor in them. And so, I mean, showing this kind of emotion for your client is extraordinarily rare. And I mean, it says so much about them as lawyers and Johnny Depp as a person, as a client, that they're showing this emotion for their client.
Anything that Ms. Heard accuses him of. We ask you, we implore you to render a verdict for Mr. Depp. We ask you to set the record straight, that he is not the abuser she described, and that she is not the heroic survivor she portrayed. And we ask you to tell Ms. Heard that what she did was wrong. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Great. Thank you, ma'am. Rebuttal close.
Wow. I mean, that was powerful stuff there at the end. And she ended it on this in the same way that she ended the first part of her rebuttal, which I really, really liked, when she said, so many people have this story to tell. This is not your story. This is not her story to tell. I mean, that's strong and that's powerful. And she just laid this out. I'm looking for things to be critical of Depp's lawyers about, because it just sounds like it's a raving pro Johnny lunatic. I'm not. I'm sort of pro good lawyering, pro truth, pro evidence, pro justice. And I'm having a great deal of time, a great deal of trouble trying to find a bad thing that Depp's lawyers are doing. I mean, during the cross-examination, there was a few things they could have done better, but these closings have been crushing. They've just been devastating. And she's hammered them home. And Chu has hammered them home. And now you have to follow this dismantling, this 39-minute dismantling, with a 6-minute desperate attempt to say something meaningful to convince the jury your client deserves $100 million that you said she doesn't really need or want. Or, I mean, it's just, Camille left Team Heard in a brutal situation. Someone's mentioning my Godzilla stuff there in the background. Wow. Yeah, that was it. Jeff has strong background game. Love the yellow Godzilla. That's my Godzilla signs. That's my Godzilla road sign. And that's a Godzilla movie poster from the 1950s Godzilla. And everybody loves Cthulhu. I am a huge Lovecraft and huge Cthulhu honk. So yeah, we'll have to talk about that more. I'm a huge Lovecraft guy. Loves me some Lovecraft. All right, let's clean up. I'm just so not used to having these things here, all the super chat stuff. Let's catch up on a few of those. And in the meantime, we're at 16,863. We need like 140 more subscriptions to boost me up over 17,000. And there's 1,000 of you here. Just hit that subscription thing and let's boost me up just for the hell of it, to celebrate the monetization day and to celebrate the the verdict day. Let's clear up some of these super chats and things before we move on to the end of the end of the end of the end of the closing. Patricia Machado says, just contributing to the monetization, sending good vibes from Paris. You rock. No, Patricia, you rock. Thank you so much for that. David Berlin says, have the Heard v. Depp till made you a better lawyer? I would say no, but it does it does give you a lot to think about. I mean, it gives you some things to look at and consider what you would have done. I mean, we have the lawyers here on YouTube that are in part of this law tube thing. We've talked a lot about strategies. We've talked a lot about what we think about the arguments, what we would have done, what they did, so it's kind of it's improving the thought process, I guess. It's an umbrella guy policy. Yeah. The umbrella guy, that umbrella guy, the umbrella man, whatever he's being called today. I'll buy a mug, start the grift. Now I want to do merch. I want to do some merch, but I'm trying to find someone who will do the kind of merch I want. I want shot glasses, engraved shot glasses, ashtrays, things like that, vice centered. Yeah, I want to do some cool merch like that. Things we use. I mean, everybody's got coffee mugs. Everybody's got t-shirts. We need the stuff we use every day. Shot glasses, whiskey glasses, ashtrays, the good things in life. But the grift will start in the monetization. I monetize. It will start with the merch as soon as possible. Mark Jennings, you are monetized. Shut up and take my money. Okay, sir. I'm not going to shut up, but I will take your money, and I deeply appreciate it. I really, really, truly, honestly do. That is too nice. Ethan Flash. Oh, my. I'm not Fig. I'm monetized on YouTube. Ethan Flash. Well, I got news for you. That means you're Fig. Thank you, I guess. Electro Beard, love the channel. Congrats on monetization. Love you too, Electro Beard, especially the beard part of the Electro. So much so that I'm going to say it again. Scamber Turd super sticker. Thank you so much. I deeply appreciate it. We've got another Gianna GC super sticker. Thank you so much. Chrissy YT from New Zealand. Hi from New Zealand. You have enjoyed your content and love your mustache. Wow. If I would have known there was going to get 3 loves, I would have groomed it a little bit more today. I haven't done anything to it today because frankly, I woke up late. But thank you so much, Chrissy. It's always appreciated. You're the best. And so is everybody else the best. John Roberts. Thank you, sir. Please look for a video of JD singing Heroes by David Bowie. Oh, I haven't seen that one. I definitely will. I'll definitely do that. Thank you. That's something else to write down. Wendy D says, annyeonghaseyo, Wendy D. That's hello for those of you who do not speak Korean. And I think there's about 4 of you that speak some level of Korean in the chat from what I've seen. Okay. Righty. Wow. I'm so touched that all of you are here and you're watching me ramble and that you're liking and subscribing to the channel and doing all these amazingly, wonderfully cool things that I just had never thought I would have to worry about ever again in my entire life. This was not on my radar at all. And it was Andrew over at Legal Mindset we were in a drunken stupor in Seoul, Korea, and he kept pushing me to do this. So I did it. He pushed me to he said people would like to hear what you have to say. And I didn't believe it. I didn't try, but I said, all right, whatever. I did it and I'm here and you're all here. So thank you for all of this. Now we're going to wrap this up real quick. And then we're going to jump back right into the issues that we've been talking about. Jody says, you're awesome. How long you think the jury will take? Guess. I'm definitely within today. I'm almost certain they'll come back today unless there's some issue. Early afternoon. I think they'll get through the morning doing things. early afternoon, their time is where I'm going to put that. Thank you, Jody, for the question. Guru Breed says, what time does Thanos come out? Thanos isn't coming out tonight. Thanos has the brightness turned up on his cam. No purple legal vices today. M Pixel, I hope you meant to leave that blank. If you didn't, I'm sorry. It's the invisible text. Thank you so much either way. And all right. So now that we're here, now that we're to this point, okay, Adolf, let's not be spamming, okay, bro? We don't need any of that going on here. All right. Let's get right on with the testimony. Now we've got the last 6 minutes from Amber Heard's side.
How about that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Done. Sorry that everybody can't play by the rules here. Let's jump back. I mean, come on, we're all decent human beings here. Don't be a dick in the comments. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's interesting that in both their opening and their rebuttal closing, that you heard Mr. Depp's attorneys address none of Ms. Heard's witnesses. None of Ms. Heard's witnesses. They listed their own who didn't see.
Well, remember the ones that she did mention, the witnesses that Amber Heard brought, they're still not her friends. They testified, but they're still not that great. And she mentioned the witnesses while she was completely destroying their credibility. So I think she mentioned them, just not quite in the way you wanted them mentioned, Rottenborn.
Who are on his payroll, weren't there behind closed doors with him, but they didn't address any of the witnesses. For example, Josh Drew, Rocky Pennington, Liz Mars, who were all there on May 21st, Melanie Iglesias, who covered Ms. Heard's bruises. They say that no one showed up for her. No one showed up for her, but then they say that these people aren't friends anymore. If they're not friends anymore, then why would they be doing what they would suggest are lying for her? Why would they be corroborating everything that she says?
Oh, I don't think they corroborated everything they said. That's a bit of a stretch.
Simple. If you believe that Depp was abusive to Amber one time ever in any of the various forms of abuse, not only physical, verbal, emotional, psychological, sexual, any of the ways of abuse, then your job is very easy. And you can not only deny Mr. Depp's claim, but you can fine for Amber on her counterclaim. And it's interesting that Ms. Vasquez just changed their theory after 6 weeks. She said, oh, well, domestic abuse just means physical abuse. It's not what Mr. Depp said. It's not what Dr. Curry said. It's not what Dr. Hughes.
Now, this is actually a very good point. This is where Rottenborn scores some points. Yeah, this is where Rottenborn scores some points. He is absolutely correct. He's absolutely correct that it doesn't necessarily mean only physical. It can be verbal as well. So he's made a point here. He's scored it, and let's keep going.
It's not what you know to be true. You know that the evidence that you've seen constitutes all sorts of abuse, and there's a reason that they're running as fast as they can from those sorts of abuse, because they know that he did it. Now, the suggestion that Amber's abuse allegations are a hoax is vicious and vile. Mr. Depp can say whatever he wants now, but he can't change the evidence that you've seen at the trial. The evidence shows that Ms. Heard did not commit abuse hoaxes, not about sexual violence, not about May 21st, 2016, and certainly not about Mr. Depp or Mr. Waldman's catch-all, all-purpose statement that Ms. Heard's abuse hoax which suggests that every one of her allegations are false, that that's coming to an end. The evidence shows she did not commit any of those hoaxes. The evidence shows that she was abused exactly how not only she, but her witnesses supporting her claims say that she was, and their witnesses even, who claim that Mr. Depp abused her. Ms. Vasquez talked about actual malice. She says because Mr. Waldman was acting as Mr. Depp's agent, you have to look at Mr. Waldman. They're standing in the shoes of one another. And as Mr. Depp's agent, Mr. Depp's malice is Mr. Waldman's malice. Mr. Depp's malice is Mr. Waldman's malice.
I apologize that we've had to go to
Yeah,
slow mode and
that's
subscriber only mode because
Now,
if
after
a few
years and
children
years
can't
of
control
Mr. Depp
themselves.
controlling the roles that Miss Heard took, Miss Heard had the biggest hit of her career 3 months before she was sued. She had withstood Mr. Depp's attempt to have her fired from Aquaman and his own jealousy as his career went down the drain before her op-ed for reasons having nothing to do with Miss Heard. But once the lawsuit against Miss Heard was filed, his campaign that he promised to destroy her entered a new phase. And then it reached a crescendo when Mr. Depp and Mr. Waldman decided to meet with the Daily Mail together and decide to plant statements that were defamatory of Miss Heard in the spring of 2020, leading up to the UK trial. You've heard Amber and her agent, Jessica Kovacevic, talk about the impact to Amber's career. She can't get hired because of the negative treatment she gets. Studios like her.
Okay, do you think that's it? Do you think that's why she can't get work? Or do you think it's because people like superstar Jason Momoa say that there's chemistry problems between them and she can't act? And her own acting coach said that she has trouble crying. That's her big weakness. She has trouble fake crying, which we of course all saw. So I mean, where is the more reasonable answer? That it was because of the statement that Johnny Depp's lawyer made, or is it because she's just a crappy actress? I mean, it doesn't make a whole bunch of sense to be saying these things. But I mean, of course, he has every single right to argue it, and the jury has every single right to consider it.
Co-stars like her. She tests well, but she can't get opportunities because of the negativity associated with Mr. Depp and Mr. Waldman. You heard Amber Heard on the stand yesterday telling you exactly what she has experienced as a result of Mr. Depp's promise to bring her global humiliation. That promise, to paraphrase Catherine Arnold, Ms. Heard's damages expert, that promise was a spark. And that promise he kept because he had told her again and again, the only way out of this is death. And when she chose a different path out of it, he decided to make that promise. He decided to throw that spark. And when Mr. Waldman became involved, that spark became a forest fire.
I don't like this idea that the act of bringing this lawsuit is somehow perpetrating the DV or perpetrating the damages caused to her. I mean, he has every right to bring this lawsuit. Amber has every right in the world to bring her countersuit. You can sue anybody for anything. If you prove it, you win. If you don't prove it, you lose and you pay the costs. If you really, really lose, if it's such a shit case that it's a frivolous lawsuit, you can get multiples of the costs in damages. You know, this idea that somehow filing this lawsuit causes damage really, really, really rubs me the wrong way. Really, really irritates me.
That forest fire has continued to this day. We ask, ladies and gentlemen, that you hold Mr. Depp accountable for his actions. Stand up for victims of domestic abuse everywhere who suffer in silence.
Mm-hmm.
Stand up for the freedom of speech, the freedom to speak about your life that the First Amendment protects. Give Amber Heard her voice back. Give Amber Heard her life back. Thank you so much for your service on this jury.
Thank you, Mr. Ruttenborn.
Oh, we finally got there. We finally, it only took us 4 days to analyze 4 hours of statements, 4 hours of the closing. Now, again, apologies for what was going on there in chat. I hated to do it, but I had to throttle us back a little bit with the, to slow down the chat. Had to go to a 5-minute subscriber only. That's not going to be a normal thing. Hopefully, it'll work itself out and we can get rid of this. That's just a temporary thing while we get things under control. And God bless my new mods for the awesome job they're doing here. You guys are great. We're going to get this worked out. And in the meantime, we have finished. We are not too far away from the commencement of court and the resumption of deliberations. So now, pretty much from now, for say the next 30 minutes, I'm completely open to whatever. So we can talk about anything you want to talk about, hopefully dealing with the case, but other things if you want. Let's burn through these current few. Eve Barlow's rotten crotch. And nice vaping dude profile pic there. Other than Stone or the fiery depths of hell, what could Amber possibly be cast in the future? Is there a redemption arc for her, or is she done? I think she's just done. She's toast. She's done. I can't imagine anyone would want to work with her, especially after she gave the big, long speech as part of her closing argument. She has panic attacks on the set. All the other actors have rules they have to play by, how they can touch her, how they can approach her. She has all of these rules, how her friends can touch her, how many people can be in the room, what can be said. She's basically said she's damaged, she's hysterical, she has all of these nobody, no director, no producer is going to want to be involved with that statement. Those things that she was saying about having to do all of these, having all these special rules for engaging with her, and how she panics and breaks down, and that is the world's worst job resume, what she was doing there. I mean, that wasn't the best testimony ever. Lily Moore, hi from New Zealand. Hello, Lily Moore. Thanks for the coverage. I was a target of someone with histrionic personality disorder, and it's nice to hear it being exposed. I'm sorry to hear that. MPixel, loving the channel. Could JD claim additional damages in court given the evidence? Nope, it's what's been claimed has been claimed. It's going to be over in a few hours, hopefully. And ask Nick or Legal Mindset about Ice-T Guts theme law in order to get my joke. Okay, I will do that. I'll ask them tonight if I get the chance. And Patricia Machado, thank you again. I know you like bourbon, whiskey, sometimes sip on rum, right? I do. What about gin? Too British? Oh no, I just finished a wonderful gin martini, gin made with Lille Blanc. So that was a fantastic martini there. I'm all about the vice. It doesn't matter what kind it is, except for I'm not a huge soju fan. Von Michel says, glad you are adding to the legal mix. Well, I appreciate that. It's just doing my thing, and I appreciate anybody that hangs around. So here we are. What's our deal? Oh, my Beavers unit. Listen to her. Listen to the other mods. They're taking care of me because, again, I'm a shitty self-promoter. And we are at exactly 16,900 subscribers right now. And this is my own little personal telethon. Let's see if we can get me up to 17,000 in the next 30 minutes. Maybe I should say I'll shut up as soon as someone gives me 100 subscriptions. I'm going to be here until I get to 17,000. But now I would greatly appreciate any subscriptions or likes to this video you give. So where are we here? Where are we? We're coming up on the end here. We're going to be hitting court, I believe, in an hour from now. Let's see in the chat right now. Put something out there. Let me know. A for Amber, J for Johnny. Who is going to win today? Let's see where we're at. In the meantime, Legal Vices, know any good Korean whiskeys? Kyriakos asks, there's actually not a lot of, there's a few Korean whiskeys, but they're basically Scotch that are rebottled in Korea. There is one distillery called the Three Societies that is in the process of aging the first domestically produced Korean whiskey. So we'll know in a few years how it is. So it looks like we're all, it looks like they're all J's. Does anybody think, honestly, not just what you want to have happen, but is there anyone who honestly believes that Amber is going to win, whether you want her to or not? I don't see anyone. Now, for me, I've said the same thing and I'm sticking by it. I'm putting this at about a 70% chance for Johnny Depp to win. I think he's won the public opinion, hands down. I mean, he's going to work again. He's going to make some big movies. He's going to be back on track. He's won public opinion. But winning this lawsuit, I'm putting it 70%, just because of the things Rottenborn was saying. The DV and SA does not, well, the SA has to be physical, but the DV and DA does not necessarily have to be only physical. It can be emotional or verbal, but it's up to the court. It's up to the jury to decide. So we'll have to see how they come down. And so it's not completely out of the realm of possibility that he could lose. I think her chances of winning are 0. And I mean, that's a pretty strong statement to say, I don't think she has a single percentage chance of winning her case. I just don't think she does. Tex-Mex, Busan is a pretty cool place. Texas Street, baby. If you're bringing up Texas Street, that's a legend from long ago. Texas Street is now a gentrified area. It's not the Busan version of Hooker Hill that like Itaewon is in Seoul. Texas Street's is a calm place here in town now. But yeah, anyway, I'm putting it about 70% chance just because it takes one juror. It's strange to me that this has to be a unanimous verdict. If one juror believes that one incident of verbal A constitutes the DA and refuses to come around to the way the other people are thinking and holds with their line, then he loses. So I think there's a significant chance, not the larger chance, but I'm putting about a 30% chance that he could lose the case for that reason. On the same scale, I think she just wins nothing. And if he wins, what's he going to win? What are the damages? For me, I think there's 3 possibilities. I've talked about them before. I think it could be what he lost by not being in the next Pirates of the Caribbean movie, because unlike Amber, the witness was mentioning, the expert witness, Richard Marks, was talking about how they're scaled, how you can track the progressive increases in scale in a lot of cases. So it would be easy to estimate, I think, what he would have been. So we'll put that somewhere in the 20 millions. Or it could be the 7 million he got from the divorce, just for whatever reason, however feisty the jury is feeling. Or they could say, we know he was damaged. We don't know to what extent he was damaged, so we'll give him $1. And I think Johnny Depp would be happy with $1. I don't think he cares if he gets anything out of this. I'm not even fully convinced he cares if he wins or loses this case. I'm convinced he doesn't care what he gets out of it. He'd like money, I'm sure, but I don't think he cares how much, if any. And the reason I think that he might not even care if he wins or loses is because if he wins, he gets his name and reputation back and he can say that he had justice. If he loses, he might even be in a better place where basically the entire planet is pro Johnny Depp at this point, except for the mainstream media. That's going to allow all of his supporters to say even louder, he can't even get justice for this. Despite everything you heard happening to him throughout this trial, he can't get justice in the court. So actually losing this case might give him more credibility and might give him more support from the general masses. My Beavers unit needs a shot of something. I'm loaded for bear here. I had the martini, and because it's such an awesome day with the jury coming and me getting monetized, I've got a lovely bottle of Blanton's bourbon here. This is the Australian bottling, which is quite delicious. It's been proofed down to 40% so that the Buffalo Trace people can deal with the Australian taxes, which are based on the percentage of alcohol rather than the volume. Let's look at some of these comments. I still have to go back to the original. Patricia Machado, one last one for today. Thank you again, Patricia. Promise. No, don't. Please, whatever you want. You keep going. I'm not going to say stop. Try Nordi's gin. It was a good surprise. Well, that's why I keep a pen here so I can write down the delicious new recommendations. I will do that. It was a good surprise. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Janie says, in the slow time, I think you should do What If They Were Tried Today? Example, Lizzie Borden. Oh, that would be fun. That would be fun. Like I said, right now I'm reviewing the testimony from the O.J. Simpson trial to bring up a few of the witnesses, and especially the one cross-examination that I want to bring up. So we might be able to do that for about a week because the cross-examination of this witness was 8.5 days. I'm trying to isolate the highlights when it was an 8.5 day highlight. But yeah, that might be kind of fun. We can talk about some of the old ancient cases. Thank you for that suggestion. WTFIH. Hi, Vices from the UK. Good morning to you. I just want to say, saw you on Nick's channel. Keep up the great work. Love your vibes, man. Looking forward to the next trial. Yeah, I got to find out what the next trial is. The Daybell case has been bumped to January. One of the cases against Marilyn Manson was thrown out, but the other Marilyn Manson case is coming up, and what I'll probably be doing later this week is reading through the complaint in that case. Because it's just getting started, so it's going to be a while before that goes, but it'll give us something to do in the meantime. Yvonne Da Silva, thank you again so much. Maybe you can find it in Korea. Suntory Whiskey Toki. There's some good. I've got some Toki back there on the shelf. There's the Etsu Double Yuzu Gin. Oh, the gin would be good. I have a friend who's a huge Japanese and Korean gin guy. I'll hit him up for that. Reach to me and I'll find you a way to send some Swiss. What's that a bottle of too? Swiss whiskey. I've got some Norwegian Usgavita, which is intriguing. It's the Norwegian whiskey. It's one of those things you drink and you think, is this like the worst stuff I've ever tasted, or is this really, really good? This Norwegian Usgavita is amazing because it's a mysterious drink. Donna Hannaford, one of my mods. Oh, you are so sweet. Thank you very much. Hey, Jeff, lost the friendly competition happily. Apparently there was some sort of competitions who could super chat me the first, which well, Donna, thank you so much. Thanks for being awesome, everyone here, helping the mods on their first day. Like button, press it, please. Oh, thank you. You are so awesome. I appreciate everything that everyone is doing here. For those of you that are keeping things normal, that are being responsible, which is the vast majority of you, I deeply appreciate it. And we'll throttle things back to the way they should be, and we'll get going on it. For the meantime, please understand while we work through these situations. TechMech says Marilyn Manson is so nice. I've met him twice. I tell you, like he's a bit. The level of stuff he's into is a little bit above me, but I can guarantee that if you spend a weekend with Marilyn Manson, it would be an absolute weekend to remember. Manson's case is going to be even more difficult, says Eric Kopus, because he has spent his entire career trying to look so dangerous and edgy. Well, see, what I'm thinking, I think like Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper kind of started the whole glam rock thing back in the days, the theatrics, the stage plays, but his stage presence, his stage persona is so different than his off-stage persona. I mean, he's a Sunday school teacher, he's a diehard born-again Christian, and all of these things. So he keeps it separated. But Marilyn Manson is kind of he's absorbed his on-stage persona, I think. But in the end, I think that may help him in the long run, because I mean, you look at the stuff he talks about doing, the stuff that he's into some pretty freaky shit. I mean, you just have to look at him and listen to him talk for a few minutes, and he's into some pretty freaky shit. But he's a genius. He's incredibly intelligent. He's incredibly well spoken. He's his mind is incredibly precise and logical. And he's a very great thinker. But he's just I think he's let himself become subsumed by his personality. And to that, I think if you date Marilyn Manson, you have a pretty good idea it's not going to be dating a Sunday school teacher. I think if you decide to go out with Marilyn Manson, you have a pretty good idea he's going to be into some freaky crap. And so I think maybe they may have a little bit of an issue sort of coming to, well, we didn't know he was like this. We didn't know this was going to happen. We didn't consent to that. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. But again, I'm not pro Marilyn Manson. I'm not pro what's her name? Ward, I believe her name is Evan something Ward. That's one case that I'm walking into completely like this one. Well, this one I was actually kind of pro Amber back in years ago when all this was coming out. But the Marilyn Manson, I'm looking forward to going into completely neutral. I just want to read what's written, read the submissions, see what evidence we're presented with, and go from there. I wonder if the rib cage myth is real about Manson. I don't know what the rib cage myth is. I haven't heard the rib cage myth. It's not one of these myths about someone removing ribs from themselves, is it? Sarah H says he comes with a disclaimer being him. Pretty much. It's like, I'm Marilyn Manson. That's his own disclaimer. Rebecca Jones is saying, we're on the clock. I'm so nervous. Yeah, we're getting ready. We're coming down to it. Yeah, this is it. And I really do think they're going to come back with a verdict today. I mean, the admonition is to not discuss the case with anybody, not to research it, not to go on social media, not to see anything. But it's a 3-day holiday. It's Memorial Day, where traditionally families get together for picnics and have family gatherings and things. So, I mean, the chances that all of the jurors are going to go through the entire 3 days without looking at something is, I mean, it's going to be an uphill battle, shall we say. I won't say that they're going to do it, but I'm sure they will all keep their court admonitions in mind, and none of them will research this. None of them will hear anything. If they're at a picnic and people are going, hey, what about that silly ass trial? They're just going to walk away. I know they're going to do that. There's going to be no impropriety, but they've had 3 days to think about it. I think they just need to go through the steps of familiarizing themselves with the jury instructions, just basically going down the checklist, which will take a while. So I think unless there's a major rift, which I don't see happening, it'll be wrapped up today. And I mean, traditionally, I think if it's 6-1, that one will eventually give in and change their opinion so they can all get out. League of Vices says Minkship, for $30, would you? Depends on what that for that on how that sentence ends. Cat Lady's Harry Pussy says, in this day and age, it's virtually impossible to not see or hear things. Now, I'll tell you that someone living in Korea, that is absolutely true. I can completely vouch for that, because I mean, now you can do like the NFL package. You have the NFL app, so you can watch the NFL live from foreign countries. But it used to be here in Korea up until 5-6 years ago, there was no way to watch something like the Super Bowl. So you want to watch the Super Bowl, The only way you can do is wait for the game to get over, wait for it to get put up on some torrent stream or something, and then download it and watch it. So you're looking at basically 24 hours after the game. Plus, the game starts in the States when it's morning here in Korea. And so, every news site, every time you turn on your computer, you had to panic and worry about, are you going to see the scores to the Super Bowl? And in about 15 years of trying not to look at Super Bowl scores, I believe I succeeded once in not seeing what the score was before I watched the game. So yeah, I mean, it's just so difficult to go without seeing something or hearing something on a bus, in your car with the radio on, or what the TV, your comments from people, or just what website could you possibly look at and not see Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? I mean, what news website, what newspaper could you look at if people actually look at newspapers anymore? I completely agree that it's probably incredibly difficult to go without seeing this. And Yvonne De Silva, haha. There you go. Welcome back. It was meant to be Swiss bottles too. Okay. We mean absinthe. Now some legit Grand Wormwood absinthe, like the legit absinthe, not just the vodka that's been infused with anise and other herbs. I mean, like the good, real distilled absinthe. That would be something that I would love to have. I had a bottle that I got in Thailand that I had to just nurse that little bottle, that bottle of absinthe for about 5 years. So yeah, like real Grand Wormwood absinthe would, I mean, that would float my boat in a heartbeat. Some good shit there. Now, a long time ago, Beverly Alfred asked this question. I promised I said it was a long story and I would get there. I hope you're still here, Beverly. I really, really do. If you're here, here it is. If not, I'm so sorry, but it's just kind of a rather lengthy story. Why Korea, and are you there for good? Why Korea? Wow. The first time I came here was 1988, September 21st of 1988. I was a squeaky clean, wet behind the ears, white shirt, name tag wearing Mormon missionary. Excuse me while I take a drink. I was a Mormon missionary here for 2 years in Busan, from 1988 to 1990. And can you get drugs like mushrooms or LSD? Hell no. No. You don't even want to begin to even contemplate doing anything remotely associated to narcotics, even weed. I mean, in Korea, drugs are drugs. There's very little difference between, marijuana and crack cocaine. I mean, just drugs are drugs, and you will go down. You will go to jail and down hard. You do not want to mess with drugs at all here in Korea. So yeah, I was a missionary here for 2 years. And then when I went home, I went back to my university, Utah State University, to do my second year of undergraduate. And then while I was doing that, Busan National University made a sister university relationship with Utah State University. And they were looking for someone who wanted to go to Busan, Korea as a guinea pig for this new sister school relationship. And my advisor said, I think I know someone who might want to go back. So they said, hey, do you want to go back to Korea for another year or two? And I said, well, hell yeah. So 6 months later, I was back here. I was an exchange student at Busan National University here in Busan for about a year and a half. And then I went back to finish my last year of university and to do law school. But I came back here during summers in law school, and then I moved back here full time after I got out of law school in, I believe it was 1996. Been a while. So yeah, that's the long story of how I ended up here. Sid, you really were a Mormon missionary. Yes, Sid, I really was. Given their ages, I'm quite sure the jury will be on social media. Most of the world use at least one platform and are hooked on their smartphones. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Craig Cruden says, as a foreigner, you don't want to get involved. Any offense could get you barred after you're released from prison. Exactly. That's just kind of the thing about being a foreigner in any country. It's like, Custer. It's like Custer's Last Stand. It's you against everybody else. So can we assume you've left the Mormon fold? Well, I feel kind of like they left me, but yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've darkened the doorway. Wow, we have wait, where did they go? I am Oh, that was it. Sorry, I've always found it amazing about Pride FC. Steroids equals good, drugs equals bad. I am fried chicken. We get it. You live in Korea. Which one? The good one. If I was living in North Korea, I would not be here online. So yes, I live in South Korea. Yes, Spooky Spoons do speak Korean. Yes, I do speak Korean. I've been here 34 years. I've been here much longer than I've been in America. I only lived there for 19 years plus law school, so 20 something. So yeah, I've been here a lot longer than I've been in the States. Will you continue the stream during the trial now? No, I will be letting my betters take care of that. Whether it's Ricada, whether it's Legal Bites, there's others that are doing it too. I'm not going to step on anybody's toes. I'm too young to the game, too new to this game, too fresh to the game. I've been on Ricada's channel for the past week. If he invites me, I'm sure as hell going to jump in there. I'll be back to be part of that. So if not, I'll just sign off and let you all go your own way, and I'll be watching as well. North Koreans are not on YouTube. Nope, North Koreans are not on YouTube. Kelly joiner, Ricada, please. Yeah, and Nick and I get along well, and other both of the Andrews, we all do quite well there. So we'll see how that goes. Charles Cook asks, what is with the penis worship in Korea? Okay. Now, seriously, there is a love museum in Gyeongju on Jeju Island. There is literally like a sex theme park. It's just with like massive junk rides. I mean, yeah, it's a thing. I don't know why, but yeah, if you get a chance to visit Korea, you need to go to the I just call it the Schlong Park. The Schlong Park in Jeju Island, or the Love Museum in Gyeongju. It's kind of a funny place. Wow, I hadn't thought about that for a while. Sid, Reykjavik has are you from Iceland, or you just know about it? Cult member says, I have a quick question. Does the jury get the entire tape recordings or just clips played in court? They get whatever's been submitted into evidence. They don't get the recordings of the testimony, only the evidence, only the video files that were played in evidence, and the other things that maybe weren't submitted. But they'll have like a big binder and or everything digitally they'll be able to see, but they won't have recordings of the actual testimony that have been given by the witnesses. De Silva, I was born in Neuchâtel, Switzerland. I probably butchered that. Reach to me on Twitter or elsewhere. Done deal. Shoot me a Twitter message and I'll shoot one back. So, all right, we are at the 1 hour and 53 minute mark here. And so in about 10 minutes, we'll cut this loose and let you all get ready for the resumption of jury deliberations. Pop your popcorn, do whatever it is you need to do. And as we kind of wrap things up here, I really do just want to say this is like day one of monetization. So it kind of freaked me out. The amount of growing pains that I've had to deal with in literally the past few days are things that I expected to have to deal with over like the next 8 months to a year at least. Where I am today, I literally expected to be here in about a year, if ever. And so all of these things that have been coming in, man, it's been awesome. It's been impressive. And I am forever grateful and indebted. We're at 16,933 subscribers now. So come on, just 67 of you jump in there and hit the subscribe button. Let's get me to 17,000 just for the fun of it. That would make me happy, and it would make you happy for being someone who can say they did a good deed for the day. They made some old dude on YouTube happy by subscribing. Like the video and subscribe, but And again, thank you so much. Thank you so much to my mods. I mean, seriously, if you could see how, I mean, I don't know what the hell I'm doing 90% of the time here anyway, but if you could see what they're doing backstage to make me look even way better than I could possibly ever do on my own. I mean, big ups to the mods. And again, next time we'll see how far we can get before, if we have to throttle things back with the delays, with the slow chat, and with subscriber only thing. I don't want to do that. I would like to be able to believe that everybody can corral themselves and check themselves, but there's always a few dickheads out there that can't control themselves, and whatever. But we're gonna do our best. And like I said, I know people don't generally like mods, but yeah, those of you that saw what the hell was going on here, it's necessary. It's necessary to have the mods. But my instructions to the mods were, this is open. This is unbreaded as it's going to get. Minimum involvement from the mods. Just anything that's not going to get me deplatformed, basically, is okay. I'm not a prude. I'm not going to over nanny this, because I'm a huge fan of free speech, and I'm kind of a degenerate as well. I'm definitely based. So it's not gonna. Again, I'm not doing this for. I'm just doing this because I'm having fun, and I want everybody else to have fun. I don't want anybody to feel restricted. I mean, just be normal. And we're at 9:48 now. We're getting closer. Let's see if we can get 52 more subscriptions in the next 5 minutes. If not, well, crap. Too bad for me. So again, the mods, you're awesome. You're great. And when I get done here, I'm gonna have to check to see if anybody wants to play with me later on their stream. If not, I'm just gonna pop me some popcorn, get my Blantons going, light me a pipe or a cigar, and sit down and enjoy this. I'm going to be here for the long run, so I'm just curious to see, what Ricada or Legal Bites or the others are going to be talking about. It's going to be fun, and I hope we're all enjoying being together. And gosh, you guys are so awesome. The subscription count is going up. Again, I'm so completely humbled by this. This whole monetization thing is really freaking me out. And I don't make a big deal about it. I'm never gonna beg for super chats or things. I guarantee you that. But again, I deeply appreciate. I mean, anytime someone wants to give me their hard-earned money, knowing that I have my other job and I make my own. Anybody wants to, like, I mean, it amazes me, and I'm gratefully, I'll be just forever grateful to anybody that even sits here and watches me. And there's 644 of you that are just listening to me ramble my ass off at this point. Well, now there's 636 listening to me ramble on now. But God bless everybody. Just thank you so much as we go through with this. And once the verdict comes out, we'll do some reviews. We'll hit some highlights. We can probably drag the Heard Depp thing out for about another week, I would imagine. And like I said, after that, hopefully, here we go. We got another Avery Johnson. Thank you so much. You stay based and you're going to go places. Just don't become a commie when you get big. Oh, hell no. A, I don't ever expect to get big. And B, even if I did, I certainly wouldn't become a commie. Karma Justice, keep up the great work. P.S. I hope you like the videos I sent you on Instagram. Yeah, that was cool. Seriously, well, we figure out how to use those. There was a great little clip that I got to try to figure out how to work into things here. Oh, we're at 9:58. We've got 42. We almost made it, but what the hell? We had fun. We came close. And a 30. Wow, that's a symbol I don't think I've ever seen before. Ty? Is that a bot? 30 bot? Super sticker? Thank you, Apple Pie. You'll have to educate my dumb ass on the currency signal, on the currency symbol. So, all right. Well, there we go. We're at the end of the broadcast here for today. I'm going to take it easy and see what happens from this point on. We'll see where we all end up at the end of the day, and check back in for my rambling shekels. Really? Okay. Check back in for my rambling stuff that's going on. Thank you all for coming. I love you all. God bless you all. Blessings and wonderful thanks. My deepest gratitude to all of you that watched, all of you that liked, all of you that subscribed, all of you that gave super chats and super stickers, and most of all to my mods who keep me from doing really, really ridiculous things and looking any stupider than I normally do. Thank you all so much. Love you all. Last one, going out the door from Even De Silva, done. Let's talk later. Goodbye. And until we talk again, here or on another channel, take care and enjoy your legal vices. I'm out.